This is TWiT.
OS week. This is what it is. On Monday, Apple released everything. Like I said, everything. iOS. Yeah. iPadOS. macOS. Yes. tvOS. Sure. watchOS. Yep. visionOS 2. Yes. Yes. All the things were updated. I'm sure I missed some, but it's fine. Like, trust me, the HomePod OS probably got an update. It's fine. Yep. Everybody's happy. So we got a lot to talk about, but we should probably dive in with iOS 18, which is pushing out to everybody's phones right now. If you haven't gotten it already, you will be getting it soon. A bunch of new features in here, including, I think, the home screen customization, which is going to be a big deal for a lot of people. Change your icons, move those icons anywhere you want, kind of like how they've always been able to do it on Android, but you can do it on iOS now. And I think that that's a fun new feature. A bunch of other stuff in there that we will talk about. Control Center gets a huge revamp where you have the ability to sort of resize items in multi-pages of Control Center. There's a lot of really nice quality of life things in here. However, and we'll get to more about this later, it's also worth mentioning the elephant that's not in the room, which is that everybody's waiting for Apple Intelligence, which, again, if you haven't been paying attention, is not in iOS 18.1. Because it's going to be in iOS 18.1, which comes out next month, sometime next month, Apple has said, but not now. So we are sort of left right now kind of getting to celebrate the other features of iOS 18. Alex, what are you most excited about in these features on your iPhone?
I've been in the beta, so it doesn't feel like there much.
I know. And, we're pretending that this is new, even though we've been using it since June.
Yeah. I don't, the thing that I guess the thing that was the most shock and awe for me is still the iPads. I know we're not talking about the iPad, but the calculator. I mean, being able to open something up in Notes and draw on something, like just draw equations, complex equations, and have it just say, and just equal, and then erase something and do something else and just have the equal change again. It was just kind of like that for me, that was the big, I just keep talking about it because I just can't get over it. As far as the AI stuff, I have to admit, it's not like, I have ChatGPT open all the time on my phone. I have it on my computer. I don't really feel like I have Midjourney opened all the time. I'm using stuff with Anthropic. And so I know that the press, I watched a lot of people writing about this of like, the sales are depressed because there's the AI didn't go out with the phone, and I'm not buying it. Like, I'm not buying it. It just doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm sure it'll be great when it comes out, but it's not like the feature that I was waiting for from the OS. Mostly what I was waiting for, which I didn't get, which was the 4K per eye spatial, which may still be possible. So there's a question about whether they just haven't rolled that part of the API out yet. So they now have the new phone will have two sensors that are capable of providing 4K per eye, but we didn't see that come out in the OS. And so I was kind of like, that was the only, I only need one thing from this, and I didn't get it. So I'm actually delaying, just waiting for a little while to see if that actually happens before I buy the phone. Because without that, I don't feel like I wasn't here for last week when they did the announcement, but I didn't feel like the camera upgrades were dramatic. I think there was a dramatic change between 14 and 15. I think if you have a 14 or earlier, the 16 is a dramatic change. If you have a 15, it's probably not this may or may not make sense.
That's probably the right way to do it. And back on iOS 18, Andy, do you have any things that jump out at you with the OS, whether you bought a new phone or not?
I've installed it on an iPhone 14, which is my newest phone. I'm just blown away, but I think you put the nail on the head. I just love all the little improvements that they put onto it. We often talk about how there's like a back of the desk drawer feature, like at Apple, where there are features that they're working on it. They really want to do this, but when you switch to when they introduce iCloud, all of that has to be pushed aside to make iCloud work across all the devices. When you have Apple Intelligence, all kinds of things have to be pushed back to make sure that other things work. And this seems like a time where they took a lot of those really great features out of the back of the drawer that were technically possible forever, like being able to finally customize the layout of your icons, like hiding stuff that you never use, for instance. And I think that a lot of people are going to find a really new, wonderful relationship with their phone when they can actually just arrange groups of apps, groups of things the way that they like on their device. It is such a productivity booster. And all the just customization across the board is my favorite like single feature. I mean, Apple even went so far as the lock screen camera shortcut is an old feature. It's been around for a while. But with iOS 18, let's say that your camera app is Halide or Adobe Lightroom and not the built-in camera app, you can have that shortcut zap to Halide. That's just across the board. I think a lot of people are going to have a lot of fun over the next 3 or 4 weeks, seeing the way that you can arrange things so that they're exactly the way that you expect them to be, and not have to get used to how Apple set them and didn't let you change them. Great stuff.
Doc, what are you thinking? Anything jump out at you from this new round?
Yeah, I have a couple big ones, and Alex kind of covered it, but the fact that even on the phone, Math Notes works. Okay, I travel all the time, and when I'm not coming to Boston or whatever, I'm always going to Japan. So the fact that I could just open up Apple Notes, right? I could type in 100,000 yen and hit the equal sign, and it goes 750 US. Like, I instantaneously know if I do like 100,000 euros, it's going to give me that automatically, right? If I'm doing things where I need to do a calculation, it's there. Now, the struggle bus is going to be for me, and I'm hoping that they've opened this up at some point. I am Fantastical through and through. Been there since day one. I think it was like Macworld 2012, and I haven't left. Day one's a different app. Anyway, the fact that intelligence works so well, but it's so heavily integrated to calendar, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to make my way back to calendar and not feel ougy about it because Fantastical is life. It's driving me nuts.
I've got a tip for you there. This is I mean, because I've had to deal with this too. There's so many things that happen and it's a frustration that I've got, right? That Apple wires a lot of stuff into calendar, and even like data detectors, somebody will send you a time and it'll offer to create it in calendar, but you can't say use Fantastical instead. It just doesn't do that. The trick, and it's not great, but it's a good workaround, is you log in to all your same calendars with calendar. You turn off all your notifications for calendar, and all calendar, basically at that point, calendar just sits there and maintains a duplicate. And then when so Apple Intelligence will be able to read from that synced version of your calendar. Anything that gets pushed to the calendar ends up on your calendar, and Fantastical will see it too. But it's a little bit silly. Like there should be another way to do that. But essentially, Fantastical, I think, can still read from your system calendar set as well, or it can just independently read from your servers. So there's some options there. But I hear you. It's one of those things. It's great that Apple has this integrated calendar, but I don't use it. And I really don't. Yeah. I want to benefit from the integration, but I don't want to use their app.
And honestly, that's going to end up being the same thing for reminders too. All of the guys, I was talking to Vardy recently, and he's all Todoist is life, for him. So I love these new features. And to Andy's point, it's like the final polish on everything. The one comment that absolutely drives me insane is, we had this on Android forever. Well, let me just put it to you like this. Animals were walking on this planet for a long time. We did it better. We don't have to be first. You just got to do it better. Okay, so
we're both marching under the same meteorite.
Yeah, but I just find that crazy.
No, but you're right.
A lot of people, every year there's another thing that comes out that sort of redoes what has already been done. That is basically life. That's life in general. So I don't know. I just find that comment almost borderline useless at this point. Like, Apple is very cautious because of where they sit on the timeline. They have to be worried about crazy things. We talked about Gate coming up next week. Something will be gated, and people will be like, "I'm gonna sue because they didn't put microwave control. I want to heat up my Hot Pockets."
I got a paper cut from the new paper box. It's not plastic. Ow! I mean, there's always people are.
Oh my God!
I've said this before, but just to repeat this, it's also a story about scale. Like any product that ships millions and millions and millions of units, even if you have like 0.001% failure rate, it's going to be hundreds of failures, if not thousands of failures. You do the math. You do math notes and tell me what the number is, but it's going to be a lot. And so then with the internet, everybody's connected. So those 100 people are like, "Oh my God, my iPhone I touched it and it cracked right in the center," and Crackgates begins to spread. And it's almost like you can't make a flawless product. That's why what I always tell people when the gates happen is that's why there's a warranty. Like, it shouldn't be 10% or 50% of units that are failing. But if 0.001% of units are failing, you know what? Take it back. Get a new one. They'll give it to you. It's not a problem.
This is a good time for the annual advice that usually the first couple of weeks that a new iPhone comes out, Cupertino is actually sending out hunting licenses to individual Genius Bar stores to say, because they want to know, like, if someone dropped a phone and the screen broke, we want to see it. We want to see how it broke.
They capture them.
If a power supply went buoy. So, I mean, even if you, as usual, if you break your phone and it's totally your fault, okay, the best advice is to take it to the Genius Bar, be completely honest, because no matter what the state of your phone is, whether it's new or old, there's a chance that you'll fall under their we're awesome policy, where they say, you know what, you tried to take care of your phone. We can see by your records you're not bringing in waterlogged phones every week. We'll swap it out for free, and even though it's out of warranty.
But we used to capture for 30 days, just so you know.
But exactly, and the other thing is that when they have a new phone, even if it was totally your fault, like you forgot it was in your pocket and you dove into the ocean with it, take it, and it's 1 week old. Do take it to the Apple stores. Say what happened. It's possible that on that list they got from Cupertino engineers is that we want to see water damaged devices. We will authorize the replacement of up to 4 devices, particularly if it's saltwater damage, because we want to take it apart and see where the water got in and stuff like that. It's not a guarantee, but it's yet another piece of advice to. Not another happy time of year when you might actually feel the blessings of the 6 colors.
If there was a problem with iPhones where they had water damage, what would they call that gate? Because Watergate's taken, right?
Ocean Gate. Oh wait, no,
I don't know what they would do. Oh, my mind is just blown. I got a couple favorite features that I wanted to mention. I mentioned Control Center. Okay. Multiple pages, but the other things that are going on here is the widgets in Control Center are resizable, and third-party apps can now place items in Control Center. So Apple's example is your electric car has an app. You can put in Control Center and control your car just straight from Control Center without even going to the app. You can put multiple lights or other controls from HomeKit and size them appropriately and put them in Control Center, which is a thing that I've absolutely done. Also, it's great to just be I don't need that in Control Center, and just you kick stuff out, you promote some other stuff. It's just a much more functional version of Control Center, and I think they did a really good job. And again, is this, whoa, my God, a revolutionary new feature? No, it's not, but it's really nice, and it answers a lot of questions that we've all sort of said, but what about? With Control Center for the last 5 years, which is why can't apps go in there? Why isn't this particular item in Control Center? And now it's Apple said, look, you want multiple pages, you want different things, you want to add them or subtract them, just go to town and do it. Third-party apps can be in there. It's going to make Control Center, it's already for me because we've all been on the beta all summer. It's so much more useful than it was before using iOS 18.
Resizable and without deletion is clutch. That's the key. Resizable without deletion. I used to hate having to delete this wizard so that I can fix it.
And widgets are the same way, right? If a widget is available in small, medium, and large, and extra large, or a Control Center widget is available in the little 1 size or the 2x1 size or whatever, there's a handle on the side, and you can just drag it and make it bigger or smaller, and it goes to the presentation of the other widget size. Whereas, as Doc was saying, a lot of times it's sort of oh, you want the bigger widget? Well, here's what you do. Delete your widget and then add a bigger widget, which is I can, but surely there's another better way to do this.
It really feels like there's been a shift in philosophy at Apple, where I feel 5 years ago, definitely 10 years ago, but 5 years ago, we wouldn't have the conversation about, why don't they allow us to do this with Control Center? We would have been saying, because Apple feels as though it'll get, if they allow the user to do that, it'll get too cluttered and it'll be a mess and it won't be clean. If we let third-party apps put things in there, then they won't be appropriate for the milieu that we're trying to go for in Control Center. It seems like with this decision, I've been seeing on social media people complaining all the way back to WWDC. Oh my God, this is going to cause people to have real confusing mess of a Control Center. Good. If that's what they want, the only person who has to understand the layout is you yourself.
It's hidden there. It doesn't do it automatically. So it's going to be normal if you don't understand it. And as you start adding things to it, and I do agree with you that, and we've seen this progression since basically iPhone 1, which is that, in iPhone 1, we couldn't even install apps. And now, now you see this Apple slowly letting go of some of the controls over the UI and letting us customize it, which is something that obviously I think Android was ahead of for a long time of providing that customization. I will say what I'd love to be able to do is turn off side swiping. I think I sideswiped by accident more, 10 times more than on purpose. I don't care about going back and forth. I'm not using Tinder, so I don't really care about the right and left. But I'm always jumping into some article like, how did I get here? Why am I here?
I actually have seen a similar thing where you end up with. I think it's in music when you're editing a playlist. The distinction between deleting an item and tapping the item and having it play is so fine. And you're like, no, I just want to reorder my playlist in the car that we're all listening to. I don't want to just.
Can I say that play next? I had the exact press hard and hold, and then you can select it or tap it. And if you don't get
which is hard to do in a bump or when you're reaching down to the seat, and trying to do it while you're not looking. So that's so true.